Hi everyone, it's Alison. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to be making a card using the Autumn Beautiful Day stamp set. It's the layering stamp that I used on my video that I made a week or so ago. And it's just such a pretty stamp set. There's so many different ways that you can use it. And so today we're going to be making a Aperture card. And rather than it being open, we're going to have a little vellum window. So you're going to want your nesting dies for this. I've used circles here, and you just place it where you want to on your card, and I've measured mine so that the circle fits around the stamp that I'm going to be using, and it's roughly about 2 inches and 7/8, something like that. And you just want to place that on your card, hold it in place with washi tape as I've done, and run that through your die cutting machine. And you obviously want to open the card up because you only want the circle cut out at the front of the card. You don't want the back cut out. And so now your card should look like that. And I just reinforce the crease there just so that it sits better in the stamping platform. And you then want to grab the outline stamp again from your stamp set and just position that in the centre. And you want to use the darkest of your inks. If you do want to see, actually, I show you in more detail how to use this stamp set. I'll pop the link down below so that you can see the other video. But you just want to stamp your outline with the darkest ink. And you'll notice I'm actually having a bit of trouble with this, and it turns out I've only just recently bought this stamping platform, and I didn't realise you have to turn the lid round to suit whether you're doing clear stamps or rubber stamps. I actually find that out later on in the video. But anyway, so next you want to grab the solid stamp, and although I'm showing you 4 colours, here you are actually only going to need 3, so you want that in light, medium and dark. So you use the lightest colour with the solid because that covers the whole of the flower, and the shading is done with the darker inks. And so then you want to grab the shading part of the stamp. This is when it really does start to come together. And you want to line that up as best as you can. The more times you use this stamp, actually, the easier it does get to line up. You get to see where it needs to go. And so you want to then grab the next colour, which will be the medium colour. And this is when it really does start to come together. And that actually stamped first time, which was good. And then you want to just grab the final shading, and this will then be using the darker coloured ink. So it'd be the same ink that you used to do the outline. And there's our flower stamped. So now what we're going to do is you want to grab a piece of vellum, and you want to stamp the outline again, but this time we're going to be embossing it, heat embossing. So you want to use your Versamark. I've used quite a few embossing inks, and I do find Versamark's the best actually. It's really quite sticky, and I find you get a very good stamp with that. And so I'm just going to be applying some silver embossing powder. And this little tray actually is really handy. It saves wasting copy paper. And so with vellum, you have to be really careful that you don't burn it because it can shrivel. So I do find let your heat gun warm up, and also hold the vellum up. If you hold it up, it allows the heat to penetrate, and then it melts the embossing powder a lot quicker. So now what you want to do is line up, as you can see what I'm doing there, you line up the outline with your flower on the card, and this just helps to line up your die. Although it's a circle, you still want to make sure that you're giving it a nice even edge. So I've picked a circle that was just slightly bigger, so this will allow me to stick the vellum onto the card. And you also do want to do this before the vellum is stuck on the card. I found when I did another card, it ended up warping the card as well. So, and then just apply a small amount of glue. Having trouble with my nozzle there. There we go. So you just apply a small amount of glue around the outside. And that way, by lining it up before, you know that it's going to be even when you stick it down on your card, because you don't want any glue seeping through. And this just makes it look really effective, because you can obviously see the colours underneath, and it just gives it more of an opaque look. It's really pretty in the flesh. So now what we're going to do is make a frame to go round that, and it also hides where we've stuck the vellum. And you can see there I've used the same size die that I cut the original hole, and then also a bigger one. And then when you run that through, you'll see that you get a frame. And this just helps to finish it off and gives a nice finish to your window. And you could emboss this if you wanted to, either dry embossing, or you could add your embossing ink to it and put some of the silver on there. So now what we're going to do is stamp the leaves from the set. I'm only using the outline, and I'm also going to be embossing these as well with the silver embossing powder. And I should be doing some colouring as well. And I'm also using the little flower, and this does have shading as well, but I'm going to be colouring this myself. And I find that embossing just really helps when you do colouring, because you sort of stay within the lines. So you know, if you can colour in, you know, if you're very good at colouring in, you don't have to do this, but I actually find it gives it a nice finish as well. Gives it a nice sheen. And so then I'm just using some blending pens and just colouring those leaves. And I just, basically where it's stamped, I just do the dark around the central lines, and then just go to the outside with the lighter pen. And so you just want to carry on and colour in all your leaves. I don't know if I'm going to use all the 5 yet. And then for the flower, I just coloured the leaves in just one colour green. And I'm just going in with the blues. And just, well, as I say, I'm not an expert when it comes to colouring. I'm just doing the darker at the bottom and just blending till it gets light at the top of the petals. And there you go. So once you've got that, you then want to fussy cut those out. And so we've now got our leaves and flower, and you just want to position them on your card wherever you would like. And it really does look pretty in the flesh. You've got the glistening of the silver. So I'm using a dimensional just to stick the flower up. You just want to make sure that you don't stick it over the vellum, because you don't particularly want to see it from the other side, although it's not the end of the world if you do. But yeah, just try and not adhere anything to the vellum itself. And so you just stick those down, and that's really starting to come together. And the sentiment I'm using is just a one-line sentiment. It doesn't actually say what they're called, but they're by Woodware. Yeah, Woodware. And I'm just using onyx blacking. I think this is where I discover, so this is where I discover I had the lid round the wrong way. I couldn't work out why it wasn't stamping properly. And then, as you can see, it does tell you which way you should have it. And you'll see, I'm actually using the embossing buddy on here because I'm going to be heat embossing it with clear ink. But you'll just see what a difference it makes. Look at that, comes out perfect first time. Couldn't believe I'd gone all that time without realising it was round the wrong way. So I've just added some clear embossing powder onto there. And this just helps to give it a sheen. So it will match where we've got that flowers shining with the silver. And just trim that down. And just position that wherever you'd like on your card. And I find the black really, it just helps to break up some of the white, I think. And it helps the sentiment to stand out. And then I'm just going to finish it off with just a few gems just around the frame. Just so that we've got some sparkle elsewhere as well on the card. And there it is. Really is pretty. And it's nice that you've got something in the centre as well. And this was, excuse me, the other card that I made. And you'll see with the frame, I gold embossed that. And that just gives it a nice sort of metally finish. But what a difference it makes with the different colours as well. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you ever so much for watching. Bye.